majority Far East Columbus, majority South Columbus, the entire city of Whitehall, and then I have a little bit of Reynoldsburg, a little bit of Black Lake, but gerrymandering, so it's all just jumbled up there. But before I get started, I definitely want to make sure that I say thank you to the commission for allowing me just a few minutes to talk with you all today. But I am here today to share with you or to talk to you about my candidacy for State Senate District 15 to succeed the Honorable Herschel F. Craig. And if you're not aware of what Senate District 15 looks like or what it encompasses, I'll give you a brief explanation. It is essentially about 400,000 people, and it is the upper chamber in the State House, if you are not aware. But essentially, it is inner city Columbus, entire city of Whitehall, entire city of Bexley, and then again, a little bit of Reynoldsburg, a little bit of Black Lake, and again, just some of those surrounding cities. But just so you all are aware, each Senate district in the state essentially encompasses three House districts. So Senate District 15 is encompassed with House District 1, that is represented by Representative Dante Giles, House District 2, which is represented by myself, and then House District 3, which is represented by Representative Ismail Mohammed. But I know I don't have much time today, so I'm going to be quick, and then I get a few minutes for questions, possibly, potentially.
Questions from the commission first, then we'll open it up to the community members.
Absolutely. Okay, so I will tell you very quickly why I'm running for State Senate District 15, and the answer to that is simple. It's because I care deeply about community, because I care deeply about our people, and I believe this Senate district deserves a strong, experienced, and a compassionate voice in the upper chamber in the State House. Over the last 4 years, I have to be honest with you, I feel like I believe I know that I have led Ohio's second House district with distinction. I believe very strongly in results. I believe very strongly in getting things done and getting things onto our governor's desk, so that way I can give the people, our community, my constituents in House District 2 currently something that they can feel, something that they can touch, something that they can see. But I tell you, when I talk about results, I have to be transparent about all of the things that I've been able to do, specifically in this last General Assembly. In the last General Assembly, I delivered what we call House Bill 29. House Bill 29 is a bill that reinstated over 800,000 driver's licenses in the state of Ohio. Essentially, what it did was, if I'm being honest, is it put people in a position to get back to work, but not only that, climb that economic mobility ladder. So those driver's licenses, if they were suspended because of failure to pay court costs and court fines. I had the ability to work across the aisle and work with the other chamber, currently the Senate, to be able to get that bill in place and into law. And currently, like I said, over 800,000 driver's licenses in the state of Ohio have been reinstated, and over $8.5 million in fees or something like that have been removed from our constituency. And I'm very, very proud of that work. But then in addition to that, I created Ohio's first law to remove collateral sanctions as it related to housing for those who have been justice involved. As we know, folks who have had bouts with the criminal justice system, have a criminal record, it is very hard for them to find housing. What I did was, I created Ohio's first law to remove that barrier from them. Now, you got to prove that you've been rehabilitated. You got to prove that you're working. You got to prove that you've done the work. But if you are able to convince a sentencing judge, if you are able to convince GRC, they will give that person a certificate that says, according to the ORC, whatever, according to our governor, you can rent to me, you can trust me, I'm going to pay my rent, etc., etc. Now, the landlord does not have to take that piece of information, but if they do, it provides them the opportunity to find housing. And it's a lot more work we need to do with that regard, but it is a first step. And again, it is the first law in Ohio's history to try to address that. But then in addition to that, I've introduced and passed a bipartisan bill called the Strong Foundations Act. Strong Foundations Act tries to address the issue of infant mortality. And we know very well in Columbus, we know very well in Franklin County that in certain communities, babies are not making it to C1. And we also know, if you don't know, I'm about to tell you, in the state, we rank 45 as it relates to infant mortality. That means 44 other states in the country have figured out how to take care of mothers and babies, but we have not quite figured it out appropriately. So I introduced a bill to address that. But then in addition to that, because of my own familiar struggles and all the things, I introduced a bill to address the issue of substance abuse. And so I got some stuff added into the budget to help people basically get clean, stay sober, all the things. And I'm very proud of that work. And I'll tell you, and I didn't get to say this, but I will tell you, part of the reason why I'm here today is because I grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up in King Lincoln District. I grew up in Trevitt Heights, over the way, over Mount Vernon, Atchison area. And so I tell you all the reasons why I'm running. I'm running because I care about our community. I care about our people. And I know how much people want to feel safe in their own communities. I know what it feels like to work every single day and want to hold on to something and feel like it's a possibility that that thing could be taken away. And so I'm running because I care about people. I care about people and their struggles. And see, in addition to being here, growing up in this neighborhood, being a single mom, understanding what struggles really truly look like, I understand that even in my position as a state legislator, and even wanting to go to the upper chamber, I cannot solve every issue in the state of Ohio. Now, I would try, I wish I could. I am the most effective legislator in the House Democratic Caucus, passed most bills into law out of all of my colleagues, but I can't solve every issue. So that's why I believe strongly in engagement. I believe strongly in communicating with people. And so one of the things we did, and I did not expect to see my aunt here today, but I'm going somewhere with this. One of the things we did was we understood that seniors were the foundation of our community. And so I developed the senior advisory team because I understand that the seniors are the foundation. And they tell me what to do. They tell me how I should legislate, how I should engage. Yes. But then in addition to that, we host small business roundtables, multiple public safety forums. Even on Saturday, we're hosting the 3rd annual Hoops for Hope event. Well, we're expecting over 300 people to attend and watch their kids play basketball all day long for free because we believe that we've got to give at-risk youth opportunity. Again, I'm a state legislator. I'm not on city council. I'm not in these other positions where they have more ability or have more teeth, but I'm doing what I can do in my position out of 99 members to provide something for my constituency. So I'm always finding something that we can do every other month. We host something for community because I want my constituents to feel like they see me, like they know me, that they can touch me, that I'm accessible to them because that's my job. But then finally, I say all that to say I'm running for State Senate District 15, just again to say I care about people. I'll tell you that I do have the support of Senator Herschel F. Craig and all of my members in both the House and the Senate from Franklin County. I'm super excited to have that other members or other elected officials across our county, as well as other major community members, all the things. But more than that, I just care about people. And I know I can't be too political tonight. That's not my intention. But I do want you all to see my heart. I do want you all to know that I do care about people. I do want this area commission to know that I work very strongly with the Far East Area Commission, work very strongly with the Mid East Area Commission, work very strongly with the South Side Area Commission because I need them to know that I'm their fighter, and I believe that they will tell you the same thing, that I show up and I do things outside of the norm that they have never seen from a state legislator. I'm gonna be honest, they'll tell you if you talk to them. But I'm here today to share that with you all. Super excited about this campaign, and at this time, I'll open it up for questions from the commission.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure seeing you. Do we have any questions from the commission?
Yes,
So
sir.
I've actually seen you at some of the events
Absolutely.
in the neighborhood, so I appreciate you being
Thank
here,
you.
speaking directly to us and to members in the room and community members. I'm gonna try to keep the questions short,
Okay.
because we have folks here that, yeah.
Yeah, you made it, you made it.
He'd love to also introduce himself to you, so I'll be quick. But what are some of the biggest issues that you can see going on in the Near East that you grew up with that maybe have changed over time that we're dealing with right now?
That's a really good question. And you want me to speak specifically to the Near East Side?
I mean, we're all neighbors, so it doesn't have to be specifically to the Near East. I think you mentioned the Far East, you mentioned the South. They're probably all dealing with similar issues. So just anything you feel like maybe we should be thinking about as we engage with you in the future, as you potentially hold the seat that Herschel Prang held before.
Well, thank you for the question. And one of the things oh my God, I was at the Push for Peace event, and I'm all over Columbus, all the things in August, and and I'm going to tie this back into the Near East Side. There was a member who, or not a member, but an attendee at the event. He came to me, and he was like, "I see that the Near East Side is growing." Because I grew up in Trevitt, and I believe he grew up in the plaza is what we call it. I don't know the actual name. He was like, but it doesn't look like there's much space for um, how do I say this? The average working class constituent. And he asked what my thoughts were. And so I guess it's a housing related question essentially. And I would say that I could kind of see that. I think growth is important in communities. I think change is important. I think when you see growth, that means that revitalization is here, it's near, it's coming. But I would say I do think that people may not feel a part of the fold as they once did because things are changing so quickly. And I think people, want to still be a part of the community that raised them. And I think ultimately because of property values, because of the state, if I'm gonna keep it a bug, is pushing is pushing people out. So I don't want to misplace the blame here as to why a person who was making $25 an hour 10 years ago is no longer able to afford to live in this neighborhood. But I would say property taxes and values have a lot to do with that, and I think that's a thing. So I would say housing was the issue that came up to me most recently.
I appreciate it. I think we're going along those routes here, and we'll keep that in mind as we move forward. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Or I'm sorry, I'm not directing this.
Any other questions from the commission?
Thank you again for your time. We appreciate
And we
it.
can open it up to the community.
Yes, sir.
Keep up the great work. I love your passion and such, whatever. I've known Senator Craig since I was
Absolutely.
freshman in Ohio State.
Yeah.
I just went to school with his son, such whatever. And he's got a high bar.
Yes.
So we look forward to you taking up that, whatever we can be supportive. Absolutely. We need advocates right now more than ever. So thank you.
Thanks. All right. We're good? All right, I'll be back.
Go back to the minutes. Okay. Wait for him to come back? Or? Okay.
Commissioner, could I ask a question? We have somebody who's trying to access the stream on YouTube and said it's down. Do you know if it's working?
Let me go ahead and check on that, because as far as I can tell, we are up and running. Let me double check with our community.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. It should be up and running. Can you check in with them again?
She just said she was able to.
Okay,
Thank you for.
I think we had audio issues at the very, very beginning, so those have been resolved.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
What's next on? Yeah, 2 minutes, so Wilbur gets back, what else?
Yeah, do we have any announcements or public comments from any commissioners?
We got another speaker, don't we?
It's a part of the announcements, but it's after the commission. After the commission has its announcements, according to the agenda.
I'll say that, 10 a.m. on Saturday at Eastgate Elementary, we'll be putting together raised flower beds that are part of an initiative through, what is Kate work for?
Designer brands.
United
United
Way.
Way. And the white designer brands.
Part of a grant from United Way, so if you wanna join me to build raised flower beds, I'll be there.
Do we have any announcements from any community members?
We have, the Bronzeville Neighborhood Association meeting this Saturday at 3 o'clock, Bethany Presbyterian Church, 206 North Garfield. All are welcome.
What's your name?
Willis Brown, President of the Bronzeville Neighborhood Association, welcoming and inviting everyone to attend our meeting on Saturday at 3 o'clock, Bethany Presbyterian Church.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
I got a substitute. My name is Clyde Johnson. I work with the Office of Violence Prevention. Just a couple of things we got coming up. Well, first off, this is DV Awareness Month, so we're partnering with Columbus Public Health and doing a sport panel discussion with Mr. Francisco. And then as far as the flyer, I'll email that out to Jesus for that. And then also we're hosting an expungement event at Milo Rec Center on October 25th from 10 to 2. And I'll also send that flyer to Jesus so that way you guys can have it.
Thank you.
What is expungement?
So an expungement is basically if you have a charge and after, I believe, so many years, if I'm not mistaken, you can pretty much get it taken off your record.
And DV is domestic violence.
That's correct. I did say DV, domestic violence.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
You know,
you.
for the senior citizens, I think. I'm talking about me, you too young.
Will you send that information to Jesus? Do you mind CCing you so I can send it out to our listener? Thank you. Mr. Ovalle, do you have any announcements?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do have a couple of quick announcements, and I have a full agenda. So my name is Jesus Olaya with the Department of Neighborhoods.
Yes.
This sent out an email for commissioners. The Department of Neighborhoods is hosting a building and zoning services training on the 25th, October 25th, from 9:30 to 12:30. There's an RSVP for that. If you have, please take a look at your emails. And then also too, for the commissioners and community members, the Near East Coffee and Conversation is Friday, October 24th, which is a partnership with NEAC, Columbus Public Health Social Workers and the Department of Neighborhoods. And our guest speaker for this month is Officer Ortega. He was here last month talking about the dialogue team, so he's going to go a little bit more in depth about the services that he provides him and his team with Columbus Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Mr. Jason Servanek
Hi.
with the Ohio State West Fest.
So I'm here with a team of outreach professionals that work at Ohio State. So in 2 weeks, on the 25th of October, there's a science outreach event. It's going to be located on the west campus of Ohio State. So if anybody's been to campus and seen a lot of the new architecture going out in the Carmenton district, and this is a one-day event where we open up a lot of the buildings. There's going to be 54 departments and community groups there, all focused on science, technology, engineering, math, sustainability. And it's an opportunity for them to showcase some of the work they're doing. All the activities are designed to be family-friendly. So it's designed for families and kids, generally middle school and below, to experience some of the exciting things happening on campus. So welcome people to come down. I do have stickers and flyers, so I'll pass some of those around. There also is community buses that go from different neighborhoods. One of them is at the Community Extension Center that's located in the Near East. So there'll be buses running there on demand from 10 until 3 o'clock, a little bit before 11 until 3 o'clock. And everybody's welcome to join us. This is the 9th year we're doing this. And one other facet I should mention is there's activity kits we distributed. So if you happen to come to the conservatory during one of the community weekends, we give out science at home kits and start that lead up about a month and a half before the event. So there's 500 of those that were already given away in advance of the event.
Wow, that's good.
If anybody has questions, I'll be happy to answer those, and I have stickers as well, so which I should get. Everybody's time.
Thank you for being here.
I'm gonna pass my out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other public comments from community members? Okay, so now that we have the quorum, we're gonna piggyback just a little bit.
Sorry.
You're fine. So you all should have received the October, general body agenda, and then as well as the September general body meeting minutes, the September planning and zoning meeting minutes, the October community engagement meeting minutes, as well as the October zoning site visit meeting minutes, and the October executive committee meeting minutes. Assuming that you all have had time to review those, do we have any comments? Seeing that there are none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved, Benson.
Second, Matts.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. Moving into our standing committee reports, starting with planning, Commissioner Benson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharif Benson. I'm co-chair for planning. Our chair wasn't able to join us tonight, so I'll be speaking on his behalf. Not a lot to go over. We have some old business. I don't see the applicant for 533 North Nelson Road here. Is there an applicant for that project here? Okay, seeing no representatives, and then in the future, we'll be discussing 1107 East Mound Street. Is there a representative for that project here today? Okay, cool. That will end my committee report.
Great, short and sweet. Moving on to zoning, Commissioner Lowenstein.
So, I need someone to, I don't have the agenda.
Copy of the agenda in front of us if you want to speak
This
to
is
it.
a copy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so we have 4 cases tonight, that much I did know. The first one up tonight is 1462 Bryden Road.
Come on up.
Come on up.
Yeah.
Do you have,
Yes, I've got it right here.
you got it?
Yep,
Okay.
let me go ahead
You
and
know
pull
what
it
I
up
was
for you.
gonna say?
Absolutely.
Good.
Let's go ahead and pull that up. And then just let me if you know if you'd like to start on the elevation or the site plan. I believe he usually likes the site plan, so I believe that's.
So,
that's right
before
there.
you start, keep in mind, like, most of us have already heard about this, but there's 1 or 2 of us maybe that has not, because they're not either on the planning or zoning piece. So, you might have somebody who doesn't know anything about what you're doing, proposing to do. So you've got 3 minutes to give us an overview of your plan. You have a very simple project here. You should be able to figure that out easily.
So this project is in addition to this historic property, there's an existing concrete, non-original concrete stoop and metal canopy that we're demolishing and replacing with a wraparound porch that is much closer to what historically existed on this site. We're meeting with the BZA for 2 variances, one which is vision clearance, that this site requires a 30-foot vision triangle, and we're requesting that be reduced to 10 feet, which is more appropriate for the neighborhood. met with the zoning commission on site last Saturday, and I think we got their recommendation for approval of that. The other variance is setback, because we're turning the porch around the corner. We're going to be 10 inches off of the east property line. And so that plan presents the plan. I think that's about it. I'll answer any questions.
That's fine. So, the zoning committee did in fact meet on Saturday and unanimously supported the request, 6-0. And we noted, you see it on the site plan, that's a bump out into Miller. The city's constructed a narrowing curb. It seemed like that really makes the vision triangle issue even less significant, because cars have to toward the middle of the street, and you have plenty of angle to see. It's four-way stop in addition, but you have plenty of room. So we were fine with that. And the house itself, of course, sits into what would normally be the setback off Miller, and so the porch is going to be consistent with the house line along Miller. So we didn't really see any issues. Nobody came from the neighborhood, I don't believe, to ask about it. So it was pretty well a simple case, we thought. Anyone on the commission have any questions or comments? Yes.
I'd like to comment that the commission in general is in favor of porches, because then people can actually sit outside, communicate with neighbors, talk to people. As you can see, with it not being screened in, it may not be the most comfortable to use. So planning was also in favor.
Point. Anyone else? Anyone in the community wish to make any comments about this case or ask questions? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
That was a tie. All right, Benson, your second. Okay. So Benson, Wilbur, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's unanimous. 7-0. So, do you have the recommendation form, Vice Chair? Let's get the right case with the right one.
Yeah, we've got it.
Right in.
So you'll get this form from us now showing our recommendation for approval, and you need to email, scan it to the planner that you're working with.
And the BZA, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
so that they know the outcome, but also we need to know that you've done that so they don't come after us. So if you would at the same time email us, one of us, the chair, vice chair, zoning, Near East, what is it?
Near East Area Commission
.org.
Okay.
So that you have, Mike. Just make sure we know that you've sent it.
If I get this tonight?
Yeah, you're getting it right now. There it is. Thank you very much. Good luck.
You as well.
All right, the next case up is 1462 Franklin Avenue.
You're a flash drive.
What?
I'm getting hit in this flash drive. I'm sorry.
He's heading out the door.
I'll go around.
All right. So right around the corner is our next case, 1460 Franklin Avenue.
61.
61. So I'm sorry, I didn't bring my glasses tonight.
1461.
Right. So give us a second. We'll bring this up on the screen. We need more of these where the two cases are like back to back. You park your car once and you just walk around. It's very convenient.
Site plan is here.
All right. So again, there may be 1 or 2 people here who know, and the community doesn't have to all know what you're doing. 3 minutes. Tell us what you're doing, what variances you need.
So we are doing a complex, with two entrances on the front, two on the back. So two entrances from Franklin and two from the back, the way. So we're asking for a few different variances. So the variances, we'll just go through them all. Gonna have, instead of doing a 4-foot landscaping buffer, just having a 5-foot fence. Mostly there's to kind of stop different lights from basically shining in to the neighbor's yard, our house potentially. For this property, we're not asking for a variance for parking because we have enough to have 8 cars, so two per unit, but we are asking for a variance for having stacked parking. Every unit just has 2 just stacked, there's enough room for that. We're asking for an R3 variance, I believe, yes. So single family dwelling that's permitted for 3 and or for 4 units. Area lot variance, pretty common in the area. It's 50 feet and then we have a 36-foot. Lot coverage, we're asking for a slightly larger lot coverage. I think the maximum is 50. We're asking for 53, so extra 3% more. Basically just to allow for more comfortable units inside. And then the building line permit, we're asking for 15.99 in lieu of the 24.5, and then a side yard for 6.6 instead of the 7.2.
Anything else you want to say?
Not that I think of that I'm missing.
No, I think you're fine. We did consider this as well Saturday morning, and we voted 6-0 in favor. Some of the considerations are this block is very, there's no pattern to what's been built on this block, and adding a fourplex here didn't seem out of character really with other buildings. You can see, yeah, that building right there with fronts on Miller is a multifamily building with a number of units. It's out of service right now, but this being next to it, and down the street you have various things. You have a couple of single houses. You have that fourplex there, and 2 up, 2 down. And so there's all kinds of different housing on that block. So even though fourplex is a fair amount of housing to put on this lot, it didn't seem truly excessive or out of county. The setback is consistent with the average setbacks from Franklin. So, where we have the opportunity to get additional housing into the neighborhood, we're supporting it. It's where it doesn't fit the so does anyone on the commission have any comments they'd like to make or ask questions? Anyone? No? Anyone in the community wish to speak to this case? Seeing no interest there, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Benson.
Second.
Oh, there you go.
We've got Benson and Katz on this one. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Opposed? Are you opposed? Okay. You don't have to state a reason, but okay. So it's 6-1-0. Thank you. We'll fill out the recommendation form, and you know the drill on the form.
And I will get you your files.
I'll say on the next one too.
Ah, that's right. Go ahead.
All right. The third case tonight is 183 Miami Avenue.
So, and he's pulling it up. Pretty similar to the same thing. She's selling a lot. It's gonna be a 4-unit. Quadplex, same thing, 2 units on the front, 2 units on the back. They're accessible. What else? I'll go to the variances in a minute, but yeah, in that neighborhood, there's a lot of other multi-family units, and so it's not kind of standing out. And then
It's the same site plan.
Jason's
that?
property.
Oh, one is, yeah.
What? I don't know. If you scroll down, like, wait, which one?
Yeah, give me one second. It's right here. I've got it. My apologies. It's in a different folder.
Yeah.
And then.
These are similar variances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there it is. So slightly different parking.
The only thing I remember was that you didn't have room for stacked parking here, so here we're
Yes.
going.
Oh, this one.
This is one-to-one parking.
Yes. So for this one, same thing, we have the landscaping buffer, parking space. We are requesting a slightly narrower parking space, 8 foot 6 inches, as opposed to like the standard 9 foot that's required. Just because of the lot width. Required parking is 4 parking spaces, so parking variance, instead of having 6 parking spaces, we're asking for 4. Same thing, having a multifamily unit on a single family lot. Again, also proper width, 50 foot, we have a 35 foot. For lot coverage, 50 foot's the maximum, we're asking for 52.7, so that's a 2.7%. Same thing, just to allow for slightly bigger unit in itself. Side yard is 7 foot, we're asking for 6.33, which is what we have over there. And then lot area requirement is 6,000 feet, we have 4,375 square feet. And then same thing, minimum side yard vary from 5 feet. That should be all the variances. I listed them all out.
So in general, it's the same building, slightly smaller lot, pretty much the same considerations. It's not that I want to put you on the spot, but here we're in Bronzeville. Do we have a view of the Bronzeville Neighborhood Association about this project?
Yeah, we encourage the ultimate unit, but there was a gentleman that he was a landlord that had a property across that was concerned about the values of rental versus ownership. And what we discussed with him is that we need a little bit of everything in Bronzeville. You know, he lives in Berwick and said that every house in Bronzeville, the person should own it. We're saying that's not what it is, never was, so we are not encouraging that. So he was not too happy with that, but that was our position, to encourage more of the multifamily units, and his concern that whether they're gonna be rental or ownership, and we said we need both. So we're in support of this development in the area.
Yeah, and the commission has pretty much the same view there, and it's like every time the issue comes up about rental versus ownership, I always say it could be one today and a different one tomorrow. I mean, not with a giant project, but with something like this, it could turn into condos at some point, or not, or vice versa. And it's like, so we can't really, on a small project like 4 units, we can't judge things based on whether it's proposed as a rental, because could be a temporary status, whereas the building is going to be in for years, and that's what we actually have to decisions on this.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Did you say the person that was at the site visit was himself a landlord?
Yeah. He owned the building, the 4 units across the
So
street.
maybe he was more concerned about
conflict of interest.
Yeah.
competition, I would say. I thought I heard that at the site visit, but then I was like,
Yeah.
he can't be arguing.
Yes, right.
It can't be his argument. There are other ones.
It might have been. He didn't know that. He was very advocate. Anyone else on the commission have any questions or comments? Anyone in the audience wish to speak further? Thank you very much, by the way, Mr. Brown, for your clarifications. Anything else? No? And entertain a motion to approve.
So move Benson.
Benson,
Second, Chris.
Benson and Chris. You have that? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 opposed. 1. 6 to 1. We hope you're coming back soon because we don't have a quorum without you. Thanks.
I believe all for your discussion, you just can't vote.
Huh?
You can hear discussion, you just can't vote.
I would.
Wanted to hear the discussion.
Yes, no, understood.
So you have your recommendation form on it?
Franklin and Miami.
It might be,
Let's just take a 2-minute break so we can.
Yes.
I have a feeling the next case might go on for a while. While you're getting ready for this, let me ask this.
Sorry, if we could just get to the reporter, please.
How many people who are here in the audience are gonna wanna speak to this next case? I wanna get a sense of how many, not the people for the applicant. The applicant gets its 5 minutes, but other people, I'm trying to figure out how to allocate time.
We should clarify the next case is the 525 Sawyer Boulevard.
There is. So just one? No one else is speaking?
Well, I don't plan to speak. Do I have an option?
Yeah, you could.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Of course.
But you know, I serve on this as a community representative, so, but I came in the position tonight
Okay.
that I may
Fair
or
enough.
may not make.
All right. I'm gonna take a break as well here, and I'll be.
Anyone needs to get water, there's a water fountain and a bathroom, by the way.
Commissioner Lawrence, I think, did I have to say something?
I don't think I do. I can ask.
And I believe you all had digital copies last
Yeah,
time.
I sent it to Commissioner Rice.
Okay, let me see if I think I can pull it up, let me check.
It's still.
Sometimes.
Because I might have something to say and I might not. This is just.
So I have graphics of the central, I'm trying to see if I have.
So I had sent like a PDF of a PowerPoint. It
Okay,
probably had like
presentation.
15 slides.
Okay, perfect, I do see that, it's like 25 slides, including the site plan, and this is the site.
Yeah, and I think you can just like put the site plan up at first, and the others are really there if they're relevant to questions about that.
All right, let's come to order the last case on the zoning agenda, 525 Sawyer Boulevard. So, ground rules for this, normally the applicant gets 3 minutes, they made a request for a little more time, I said 5 minutes would be okay, if you would keep track of the time, Commissioner, and so the way it goes then is, as you've seen on the earlier cases, that members of the commission get to ask questions or make comments, and then we open it up to members of the community. And community members, we would ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes. And the applicant will get an opportunity to answer questions as they arise during the process. We would ask you to keep your responses, as short as possible there. All would like to, get to go home and have dinner at some point. So, we'll get started now. Feel free to tell us, keep in mind, again, as I've said to the other applicants, 1 or 2 of us may not know so much about this, but I have a feeling everyone knows a fair amount about it at this point, but, let us know especially if anything has changed, since, we started this process. I don't mean last year, I mean, in the last month or so. So anything that's changed, like highlight that, but, I will just make this introductory comment, which is, this is a big project, it's a big deal. At the same time, the variances that they're requesting are relatively modest variances, in the sense that the project as a whole, the number of units is allowed by the current zoning. So, there's a big discrepancy between the impact, the perceived impact of the project versus what the actual requests are that are in front of the city. So, take it away.
Thank you. Nice to see you all. Thanks for the time this evening. It's good to be back with you. As Commissioner Lowenstein said, we're here today seeking your approval of 4 variances necessary for our proposed redevelopment of the Sawyer Tower site, which would be comprised of 380 units of new construction, high-quality, affordable housing, over 7,000 square feet of amenity spaces, over 100,000 square feet of landscaped outdoor space, 294 parking spaces, and then also a robust suite of social services to augment the bricks and mortar here. Commissioner, if you could just keep it on
the variances.
Yeah, just for the moment. Thank you so much. As Commissioner Lowenstein said, to effectuate this plan, we're seeking 4 variances. To go through them briefly, the first is to reduce the required parking from 570 spaces to 275.
Just say 294.
So to note, the site plan includes 294. We've set the variance at 275.
Oh, okay.
We still have quite a lot of civil engineering to do and want to account for the possibility of losing spaces as we go through that process. The second variance is to reduce the number of required parking lot trees from 28 to 18. The third variance is to reduce the required 25-foot perimeter yard from 25 feet to various dimensions as shown on the site plan. Most of them are in the range of 10 to 20 feet. And the fourth variance is to remove the 4-foot landscape buffer at parts of the property that abut residential properties and replace it with a solid fence. Just to recap kind of some of how we got here, we began this dialogue this past spring and have had many conversations, have gotten a lot of really helpful guidance from this group as well as from the community that has informed our plan. I think we certainly feel that the plan is better for having gotten that feedback, both in the meetings we've had in this room, as well as in the form of the letters that the commission has provided on a couple of occasions back in April, as well as in July. As far as how the project has changed, not to belabor that, but just before these meetings, I was going back through those couple of letters to just kind of reflect on how this project has changed over the course of the dialogue that we've had going back to close to the start of this year. Going through those letters, there were about 25 different pieces of guidance or recommendations from the commission. I counted that we had either made changes to the development plan or are actively exploring changes to the development plan based on 18 of them. So again, I think we all feel that this project is a better one, thanks to you all, the feedback that you've provided, and the changes that we've made in response to that feedback. Since we had the zoning committee meeting at the end of September, the only changes to note are that we've added 95 bike racks for 190 bike parking spaces to comply with the bike parking requirement under Zone In, even though this is not a Zone In map site, based on the feedback that we got both from the area commission as well as from BZA staff. We felt it was important to meet the spirit of that, even though we are not required by the letter to do that. Not physical changes per se, but we're also now in active conversations with VO about adding a VO station. We've had a conversation with CODA about the number of residents that would be coming into this area and increasing the frequency of the 7 and number 9 buses. And we were also having a conversation with CMHA about the prospect of utilizing Caldwell Place for additional parking. But I will say, I think, we both feel that the amount of parking on the site is appropriate and adequate, and they're reticent to that, candidly. Though I think, again, we wanted to honor the request to have that conversation that came up at the planning committee meeting. I don't think we feel it's necessary. As I've said, we're really grateful for the dialogue that we've had up until this point. We're looking forward to continuing that dialogue, continuing to build upon this collaborative partnership. We are still at the early stages of this process. We're looking forward to, sitting at the table together proverbially and continuing to discuss important elements of this project, design, site planning, amenities, affordability. But it really starts with these 4 variances that we're seeking approval of tonight that are really critical to this effort to transform this property from these vacant abandoned towers into, again, 380 units of high quality amenitized housing to the benefit of this community.
Were you planning to be done at that moment?
I was counting in my head.
That was pretty good. All right. Was anything left out that you feel, or?
No, that was legitimately
all right.
worked out well.
This has been a difficult process really for the commission because, as I noted, these variances really don't, except for parking to an extent, they're pretty routine variances in general. Now, on the parking one, we have always, since I've been here in 5 years, we almost always, I think, if not always, supported one-to-one parking, even though the city has required more. This is significantly less than that, and that raises a question. But that, going all the way back 1.5 years when the city came forward, maybe it was even a little more than that, the city came forward with, they had intervened legally to acquire or gain control, let's say, of the site, and the city was looking for feedback on whether to tear the towers down or to rehab them once again, and they took proposals. And there was a proposal to rehab the buildings, and the commission held a community meeting to get feedback from the community. We thought that was important, and the community did come forward with recommendation to tear the towers down. And yours was one of the bids that proposed to do that, and the other one wasn't persuasive. And so we, I think, helped provide some momentum to your plan to be selected as the developer by supporting the tear down. And since that time, we had hoped, I think, many of us, for a somewhat less dense project. And that's not been something, I agree that you've taken many of the recommendations that have been made and have done something with them, but the density one really haven't. And so that continues to cause some concern because the project is indeed very dense, and it raises concerns on our part about its long-term sustainability at the density that's proposed. Nevertheless, and so because of that concern, the planning committee and the zoning committee each have voted against the project, but there's a tension there because the variances you're asking for are really unrelated to the number of units that you're asking for. And so I hope everyone understands the difficulty, because in addition to being zoning people here, we're also representing the community of how we see the community's interests being served. And so it makes it difficult for us. We do appreciate your having, in other respects, tried to make changes to the plan to make it more responsive to things that've been asked. So with that statement, I'll open it up to other members of the commission to make comments or ask questions to the applicant.
I'd like to make a comment. This is Sharif Benson. So thank you for aligning me to this slide, because I think that's the main thing we're here to vote on is these variances. I'm on the planning committee. I'm co-chair of planning committee. So I can say that in terms of planning, we did not vote in favor of this, but this is really a zoning issue. So I say that to say, while everyone's here today, if you have comments, if you have concerns, voice them now, because while they may be related to the planning aspect of this, how we're essentially voting is based on the zoning in front of us. So folks may vote differently than they voted the first time, but it's important to take into account the main thing we're focused on is that slide right there, which is the zoning variances they're asking, which, as the chair alluded to, are somewhat separate from the project in its entirety. So if you have comments, let's try to focus on that. But that's not to say you can't talk about the other things. Just know that there's separation, that this is the main thing.
How many units is in the senior building?
176.
And would you clarify the unit composition in that building? How many units, what size, and so forth for the seniors?
Sure, there's a slide in there that has that, so.
I think it's probably further down.
Yeah, 2/3 of the way through this.
Oh, you know what? You did have a picture that focused specifically on.
Here's a floor plan, but there is also
There is.
Yeah.
there's a breakdown though. I'm not sure if it
Is it that? No.
no, it's in that PowerPoint, but it's just a little farther down.
Got it. Give me just a moment. I'll get to that.
And generally, they're one bedrooms.
How
right?
Well, it's a lot of studios.
How far down?
Keep going. It's probably there we go. Okay, so all of the studios are in that building. So that would mean 104 studios and 72 one bedrooms. So that's, I don't know what that is, about 60% studios, 40% one bedrooms, approximately.
So I have a question for you about that, which is that seems to be, given what our industry is generally doing these days, we're generally not doing so many studios. What's your reasoning on that, and do you feel that the market will support so many studios? I mean, I know that historically in public housing, when HUD used to require a quarter of them being studios, those would tend to be the units that have. I'm a little concerned. So could you address that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've done our due diligence on market conditions. We feel comfortable with the unit mix. So, I'll just say that, we're ultimately taking the risk and feel comfortable with it. As far as the rationale, I mean, we do find across our properties, when it comes to senior housing, there is huge demand for studios. There are a lot of people living independently as they age. And particularly for seniors that may be on a fixed income, the fact that the studio units are available at a more affordable price point makes them appealing. And it's attractive to trade off a little bit of square footage in the unit for more affordability, particularly when the housing is paired with a robust array of amenities and services so that they can get things outside of the unit that they may otherwise find inside of their homes, be that gathering space to meet friends for dinner, fitness space, what have you. It's all available within the building. Also, if I could just go back to your comment on parking and the parking rationale, because I want to recognize that it is a bit below the one-to-one that seems to be at least a standard that the commission has gotten comfortable for. I think the amount of parking that we have is not arbitrary. It's based on a few different things. One is, again, looking across our portfolio of housing and looking at utilization of parking in comparable properties in kind of similar contexts, finding that for family units, one parking space per one unit is usually appropriate and adequate. And for seniors, 0.5 parking spaces for every one unit is adequate, as seniors tend to have a lower utilization of cars. So that's how we got to somewhere around 290 parking spaces if you take 176 0.5 plus 204 for the remaining units, you're right around 290. So that was our rationale, and then that has also been reinforced in our conversation with the city. I always butcher their name, the Department of Working Traffic Division of
something like that. They keep changing it.
But they have reviewed this in the course of their review for the variances and determined that it's appropriate. In the end, they did not require a full parking study because they thought that the variance was appropriate, conditioned upon us exploring these avenues to improve access to other modes of transportation, which we're doing.
You know, you bring up the city's response. I've not seen their actual report.
Their report will be issued on the 20th.
So we're being asked to vote on this with.
Could you clarify the process? Because I understood you
Well,
had to go
normally
here
we
before
get-
going to BZA.
Normally, I mean, I'm used to the city planner report that encompasses feedback from the different departments. We're used to seeing that.
Yeah, they
At an
submitted
earlier
that,
point in
yeah,
time. What happened
they
there?
submitted that to us really, right after we submitted this. They didn't send that to you, I was under the impression that you had been included on that.
I sure haven't seen. You don't happen to have a copy of
I
that,
could find it.
do you?
Oh, yeah, I can send it to you. I don't have my phone's just there.
So I assume it was favorable.
Yeah, the one thing that they.
Well, it's not just an up or down thing. I always like to see what issues they're concerned
Yeah,
about.
so I can tell you what they were, what it was on there. One was that, they wanted to add, we had 3 variances originally. They added a 4th. The 4th one was the landscape buffer. So that was at the insistence of, the zoning, staff. Then the other comment was that we needed to reach out to Division of Mobility and Traffic, or whatever they call it, to talk to them about a potential parking study or something like that, and which we have, and they've determined that it's not necessary based on the affordability, and also that we're adding all of the other micro-mobility and also bike parking. So those were their 2 comments. And I think the other comment was just like a word issue. It wasn't like, and the other comment was about the landscape trees, was just to say that we could count these like bump outs on here as landscape islands, instead of, so originally, I was interpreting the code as if you needed an actual island, you know, separated inside of the thing, and they said, no, you could count these bump outs that are in the site plan as landscape islands. And we've addressed all of their comments. Yeah. Yeah, I'll send that to you. Yeah, sorry, I thought that had been shared with you.
You know, I think what's happened is the city's process of sending, they had been sending by email and then no one could do. And sure, it's on the portal.
It's from that, remember that training we took? They're all about the portal.
Yeah, that's what's gone on here. It's not your fault. Forgetting that. Okay, fair enough. Other members of the commission wish to make comments or ask questions?
I would just ask, so, can you give some idea of how the parking will impact the community around, how the limit of parking on the site will impact the surrounding neighborhood? Because I mean, I know that's, how many cars are gonna end up from people living there parked around outside of the apartments? Like in your best guess, what would you think about it?
Our best guess of people coming to the site, not parking on the site, is a few to 0. I mean, we believe that there's adequate parking being provided on the site based on, again, our understanding of parking utilization in this type of housing.
That's almost why I asked the question about how many units were in the senior building, because I agree with you 1,000%, because most seniors are not gonna have cars, so that would be a problem.
Yeah, that's our experience.
And if I could just add just a note about density, if that is a bit about a hang up. If we're talking about that building having mostly studios and 1 bedrooms for the seniors, If that was in fact, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms for families, we would actually have much less unit count, right? And the same massing of the building. And I feel honestly that compared to these 2 towers, the massing that we're providing by the site plan is much more contextual and much less impactful to the neighborhood. So you're getting hung up on the number, but in fact, that number might have been less if we weren't providing a senior component built, which, as I believe, a senior component is, if you look at your zoning principles, senior housing is one of those things that is, urged for developers to produce.
Just want to thank you for engaging with the transportation, modes of transportation to include that for our seniors that don't have vehicles. I think that's very helpful. So just pointing out some of the things that you all have engaged in your efforts, and just hope that you continue to do that moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we certainly plan to.
Yeah, and one of the cool things that we learned from our conversations with Coda was that they had one of the transportation options for eligible people is a door-to-door service that's on demand. So we learned that, and we'll definitely be engaging with them to provide that service to people around.
Thanks for raising that. That's something that we definitely want to invest resources in.
And my final comment is, as it relates to the senior building, make sure that there's enough space out there for those rideshare people to come and go easily without blocking in another rideshare person. So maybe 3 lane, I mean, not lanes, but you know how you might do a curve, but make it wide enough to where nobody's stuck in there.
Yeah.
They're getting picked up, you know?
Absolutely. And the nice thing about the way the senior building lays out is that we kind of have pickup drop-off areas on both sides of the building. So we've got a little pull-in at the main entrance at the front, which is, a true kind of, what do you call it, a porte-cochere. And then on the back, there's also a pickup spot that's not a drive-through in the same way, but also a space where rideshare vehicles or the Coda rides on demand vehicles could come to.
All right, anyone else on the commission wish to speak? All right, who in the audience wishes to speak? I'll recognize Brown.
It's good evening, Willis, president of the Bronson Neighborhood Association. And I think that, this is a wonderful project that we support. And we know this is very early on the development process, and the buildings that you see there will not look like that when it's done. And I know we're worried about the evolution of the project, that we are closely involved. And since our site hearing, we're setting up a meeting to meet with the Capitol View residents and the owner of the neighborhood house, because they're the most impacted in the neighborhood. So we're gonna be meeting with them. We're setting that up now as we speak to make that happen and get more feedback on making the project more meaningful to them as well as the adjacent community. The other thing is that the variances, yes, we need trees. We can work with getting more trees put in if we have to. We're gonna stress the fact of these items, and in conversation with the developer, they're willing to work to enhance the opportunities with this with the variances, and also the parking. 2 things that we want to say: we don't want to be like Poindexter Village. Poindexter Village has an abundance of parking that remains empty 99% of the time.
Absolutely.
So we do not want that to happen. So we are working, again, the reduction in parking is it's okay to have that as an option with alternative transportation. And also we get on the density. We have to have the density. This building is on Bronzeville's northern boundary. There's nothing there but a freeway. You're never gonna get anything there. We need the density for the services. If we want a grocery store, but you're not gonna get a grocery store if you don't have people. People say, well, how come downtown has a grocery store coming in? Because they have humans. And so we have to now begin, the neighborhood that we live in, Bronzeville, and adjacent has 70,000 people living in the twenties and the thirties and early before the war. And we barely have 15,000 now. So again, it's not like it's in the center of Bronzeville, it's at our northern, which we need to develop that. We need to have a little more life than just the freeway, Old Leonard, and the clinic that shuts down at night. So we need bodies, we need humans there to filter into the neighborhood. So we welcome the density. Yes, we like to say appropriate, sustainable development. And that's why we're engaged with them to make sure that the development is appropriate and that it can be and will be sustainable. And we're gonna be on point with them from now until we have the ceremony to cut the ribbon. But we want to work with them, and at this point, we've had some hard knock developers that came through the commission, but these guys are more amenable to making adjustments to make it successful.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I don't know that you need to respond or really ask any questions, which is fine. Do you wish to speak?
Yes, Commissioner,
All
may
right.
I be granted permission?
All right, give us your name, even though we all know it.
Right, Pamela Shields, I do serve on the planning committee. I was in the session here. So I am in agreement with what Willis just said, so you represented it well. Thank you. But additionally, I just want to add a footnote about security and lighting. And I know you'll do a good job, but if you can go even beyond that, making sure it's well lit and secure, particularly where the seniors are, because that has always been an issue. So thank you. Hear more from me going forward.
All right, thank you for your comments. Anyone else wish to speak tonight on this matter? All right, I guess we can move to a vote, entertain a motion to approve.
Second, Benson.
Okay.
I'm just second, ready for it to go up.
Yeah. All right, all in favor, raise your hand. All right, we're all gonna vote for it unanimously, 7-0-0. And I'm voting in favor of it, even though I voted against it on Saturday, just over the fact that I think it's gonna happen either way. I still am concerned about whether there's adequate parking, but we appreciate all the steps you're taking to,
Yes.
have alternate transportation arranged, and we'll encourage you to follow through on those things as well.
I just wanted to make the comment that the only reason I voted for it was because of your continued engagement with the
That's
community.
right.
That's what I appreciate about it.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. We want it to be something, please consider something that looks like it fits.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing, is make it look like it fits.
Yeah, I would say that we want your partnership, and we very much appreciate all the time that you guys provided and giving comments back. Maybe it really has made the project better, and we want to continue that.
I will say, you know, even though you guys on Better Level Saturday, it was great. You know, if I did get a chance to engage with such whatever, some of the neighbors were there and such whatever, and I know everyone was for the game, whatever, but it was really great. You'll see myself, Deb Tilton in the back, and Trey, who was on site as well. You'll see us all throughout there, whatever. So any questions you have, feel free. We want to be a partner.
I think that improvements can and should be made to the way the garden apartments lay out and face the street, and are they excluded or integrated into the community? Many of us have sort of concerns about how the segment of the project, which is area, really will work and be achieved long term and all that. So we hope to continue, you know, and see you again before you finalize your plan. I know you're planning application approved next week. I have to believe that you'll move forward one way or the other.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Recommendation form here.
My only concern is because of maybe the disparity in the outcome of the general body meeting voting and the voting of the zoning and planning, that maybe we add some additional comments about some of the concerns that were addressed around continued engagement that made us vote maybe, like I said, the disparity and the difference. So
Well,
explain it to anyone in the city that may have questions. We don't- Okay. As long as they're able to see the record here, they should be fine. I just wanna make
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, that gets into sort of gray areas that I think would be hard to describe exactly in a meaningful way. I hear you. But a vote in favor is a vote in favor, recommendation on it.
Meeting minutes are available.
Huh?
Meeting minutes are available online, meetings are recorded. The YouTube recordings if you'd like, you know.
Okay.
Perfect.
Point two.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you for your time.
That's it on the zoning committee this evening.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I'll shoot you an email tomorrow on Monday. All right. Thanks again.
Hold on one moment. Because it's picking up very well.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Is there more?
Do you mind answering questions outside? We still have to continue our meeting.
Oh, so sorry.
Thank you.
No, you're all good.
Community engagement report. So, now let's link this one. We've had Susan Lewis Kegler from, she's the CEO of St. Vincent. She came to speak on behalf of the H levy that will be on the ballot in November. And next month we will have, Michael Legit come to speak on behalf of the neighborhood slow zones pilot that they just did last month.
fiscal year. And beginning with the spring, we've really only had two expenditures. One of them was the Google G Suite for our technology upgrade. That's $580.27, and we had a credit card that had an annual fee of $12. I guess that's a corporate card annual fee. And that came up this August, $12. So those are the only two expenditures totaling $592.27, leaving us with a balance of $1,907.73. And we should consider things that we wish to spend money on to forward the business of the commission between now and the end of the first quarter next year. I think our executive committee should take that in its next opportunity of what, and I think if any committee, particularly a community engagement committee, which has historically had reasons to spend money more than the other committees, should, also put some attention to what do we need, what can we do better to advance the goals of the commission and the so that's the end of that report.
Would be nice to have some swag in those events, especially seeing what some of the other commissions have. So that's definitely something that we discussed.
All right,
Don't have it's not wrong.
That's it on treasury.
Thank you, Commissioner Lowenstein. In regard to old business, we do have two District 2 seats available. One has a month and a year left, and then the other one is a 3-year term, and then District 3 and District 4 also have 3-year terms available. There is no new business.
Was that Kansas City?
No, it's Jeff.
What can we do to?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it took me a second. I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we have some vacancies here. What can we do more than we've done? I know you've done, it's no criticism, but do we need to do more? And if so, what would it be to get word out to attract people to apply?
Well, they're talking the news on them. Right there. Get in front of the cameras. Tell them we need people.
So I made sure to transition for anyone who's watching at home our screen to show the vacancies, the apply button, the website name. So for anyone who's at home streaming or watching this later, please feel free to apply to the vacancies that you currently see in front of you.
In the same vein with the question, spend some money, we could run a sponsor on our social media account. Generally, anybody who already follows us is willing to be engaged with us, and so that could help get at least some of the seats filled, or you just apply for it.
Yeah. We also talked at the executive committee meeting on Tuesday about reaching out to people who have previously applied, especially when it was competitive. People in those respective districts reaching out to them. So that was a thought as well.
Like that idea.
Impressive number, we should show up.
So for anyone applying, you do have to be here in person. That is one of the commitments, is you have to make the meetings and be here for your election date.
The end of the agenda. So I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Adjourn over.
Second.
Answered up praise. All those in favor? Aye.